So you may not be sick, you may just be thirsty. We're going to talk about your body's many cries for water. And so if you've been looking to improve your health and even, look to improve things like weight gain and toxic issues and poor skin and asthma and allergies and achy joints, all of these things and poor digestion, all of these things can be warning signs of severe dehydration, unintentional. You may not have been intending to be dehydrated, but these are your body's cries for water. So if you're looking to improve your health, just try drinking more water, aiming for 2 to 3 liters, a little bit of healthy salt, some trace minerals, those sorts of things, and see how it goes. So it's Corey Sievers here with the Savvy team, and we really do believe that if you do a few simple things over a consistent period of time, you can achieve a high level of wellness. So if you've just joined us here for Healthy Savvy Live, yes, we are talking about you're not sick, you might just be thirsty, and we might need to start drinking a little bit more water. It's an interesting one. We're going to just delve into some of the information from Dr. Batman Galige, and he actually wrote a book called Your Body's Cries for Water. And it's an interesting one because sometimes we think that it's too simple. It's too simple. It's got to be more complicated than that. And yet we don't do those few simple things over a consistent period of time. So I hope this information is valuable. You find it valuable. And if you happen to be jumping on live here with the show, then please do give me a wave so that I know that you are here. And please do share this information or leave us any comments. Depending on where you happen to be seeing or listening to this, follow and subscribe if you can. So yes, you're not sick, you might simply be thirsty. And so we love this particular quote here that symptoms are not enemies to be destroyed, but sacred messengers who encourage us to take better care of ourselves. So it's interesting, isn't it, that when we think in terms of water, how could it be so simple? Could we just need to take better care of ourselves by properly hydrating ourselves? Well, that's what Dr. Batman Galige actually found in his research. So who is this guy that I'm talking about? Well, Dr. Batman, as he's often referred to, his belief is that unintentional chronic dehydration causes pain and disease. So unintentional chronic dehydration causes pain and disease. Now, I'd say it's not quite as simple as that it's the only cause, but certainly I would agree from my time working with people in the wellness industry and when we first came along across Dr. Batman's work back in the very early 90s, we did see really great results with people increasing their water, and especially if it was the right sort of water. So water that was not just your typical town water, but it was oxygenated and live water, not just filtered water either. But nevertheless, drinking any sort of water and drinking more of it can make such a big difference. So Dr. Batman Galige actually practiced medicine in the UK before returning to Iran, where he was involved in development of hospitals and medical centers and these sorts of things. But then the Iranian Revolution broke out and he was actually placed in prison for 2 years, nearly 3 years in fact. And it was during his prison sentence that he discovered the power of water. And so it was really, for him and the rest of his life's work, it really came from that pivotal moment of him spending time in prison. So the story unfolds like this, that one night he was helping to console and treat a fellow prisoner who had crippling peptic ulcer pain, intense pain in the stomach. There was no medication. Here he was, a medical doctor, wanting to help this guy, but there was nothing that he had at his disposal. So he simply said, look, drink 2 big glasses of water right now to see whether it will quell that inflammation. And then he said, drink another 2 glasses every 3 hours. Within no time, the guy was pain-free, and he remained pain-free from his peptic ulcer pain for the remaining 4 months of his sentence. And so Dr. Batman Galige, we often called him as Dr. Batman, successfully treated 3,000 prisoners suffering from stress-induced peptic ulcer disease with water alone. So nowadays we're in even a more highly stressed environment where, we fuel ourselves with more coffee and all these sorts of things, and so unfortunately a lot of the things that we might be struggling with from dry skin to achy joints to allergies and food intolerances could be just not enough water to cope with the demands on our body. Now, if you live in a warm climate, then there's even more demands. If you drink coffee and tea and all these sorts of diuretic type of things, you have more demands. If you take medication, you have even more demands on your body. So it's interesting that the highly stressed situation that Dr. Batman Galige found himself in prison was like he saw that it was an ideal stress laboratory. And so despite being offered early release, he chose to stay an extra 4 months in order to complete his research into the relationship between chronic long-term dehydration and bleeding peptic ulcer disease. So, as a medical professional, he was really interested in this. And so it's always so heartening when there are medical professionals like this that really start to get passionate about uncovering some of the benefits of just these natural sorts of remedies. So the report of his findings, the actual report of his findings from his time in prison, was published in the Journal of Clinical Gastroenterology in 1983. The New York Times Science Watch reported the discovery in 1983. So this is documented scientific evidence. Now, when he was released from prison, he escaped off to the US, and that's where he furthered his work. And his key message is, you are not sick, you're just thirsty. You're just thirsty. And so we shouldn't treat thirst with medication. Now, what a simple way to start. So, so what our premise here in the Savvy team is, when you're sick, there's an overload of something, be it chemicals, toxins, stress, those sorts of things, and there's not enough of the right nutritive components in your life to offset that balance. Now, that might be not enough water, it might be not enough minerals, it might be not enough vitamins, etc. So what we need to do is we need to bring that more into balance. So let's go through some of your body's many cries for water. Heartburn is, I guess firstly, let's look at this. Why is something so simple ignored by medicine, like by the medical profession? Because even though Dr. Batman Galige is a medical doctor and a traditionally trained medical doctor, he's received a lot of criticism for his work in, because he pushed the envelope saying the water cure and all of these sorts of things for medical conditions. Whereas if we just see that it's not a cure, it's simply the body needs this in order to function properly. So it doesn't cure it. It's simply an ongoing preventative. Just like, they know that scurvy was a vitamin C deficiency. So getting vitamin C didn't cure scurvy, but it was an ongoing preventative. So you need it each and every day in order to prevent the disease from developing. Well, you need water each and every day. You need nutrition each and every day. You need good food each and every day. You need the right attitude each and every day. If we do all these simple things over a consistent period of time, we can live a good and healthy life. So let's look at some of these things that Dr. Batman Galige's primary, premise. His primary premise is that the traditional medical view is that drink when you're thirsty. So if you have the thirst sensation, then that's when it's time to drink. Whereas what Dr. Batman Galige's work uncovered is that our thirst signals can become confused. In fact, we can confuse thirst for hunger. So he says it is not only is it not the first indicator, but it's not even the best indicator of dehydration. So he said older people usually lose their thirst sensation. He says that most people are so chronically dehydrated that it's tuned down and that they've actually lost that thirst sensation. And that's why many people, when they start drinking more water, they actually say, I started drinking more water and I actually felt more thirsty. Yes, because the sensation has returned. Dr. Batman-Galige says that the use of drugs instead, for pain, etc., instead of simply drinking water is ignoring the symptoms of the body, ignoring the warning signs of the body. He says that you need more water when you're eating cooked foods. He said that you can't substitute anything else. So again, medically, he was saying he was trained that fluids were what you need. So get more fluids. He said that it cannot substitute for drinking clean water. And he said that there's all sorts of indicators, everything from pain to blood pressure to allergies and more. These are all warning signs. So they're all the dashboard warning lights. Like on your vehicle, you have a dashboard warning light saying, warning, there's something going wrong. Well, he asserts that many of these diseases, or even the early ailments like pain or discomfort or poor digestion, heartburn, these are warning signs. He suggests drink at least 2 to 3 litres of water per day. And for example, half an hour before a meal, drink 1 or 2 good glasses of water so you don't mess up your digestion there at the meal. And then about 2 hours or more, 2.5, 3 hours after a meal, have another couple of glasses of water, okay? Now, this is easy to get plenty of water into your body if you also happen to practice fasting, intermittent fasting, or also if you don't have snacks in between meals. But if you're eating 6 to 8 meals a day, then not drinking at mealtime can be difficult, and that can mess up your digestion as well. So let's go through the wonders of water, and that's what I was just about to go through, some of the information from Dr. Batman-Galige's work. So he said, yes, heartburn, that water helps to prevent and helps heartburn. So he says it's a signal of water shortage in the upper part of your gastrointestinal tract, and that it's a major thirst signal for the body. So the use of antacids and medication to treat the pain does not correct the underlying cause, which is indeed dehydration. And so not recognizing it as a sign of the body crying out for water and then treating it with pills and medication over time causes damage, inflammation, problems with the stomach and the duodenum, hiatal hernias, he said, ulcerations, and even cancer in the gastrointestinal tract. Okay? So he also asserts that water helps prevent and helps with arthritis. Okay, so all sorts of joint pain. He says it's actually a warning sign, a signal that the joint is significantly dehydrated. So the use of painkillers doesn't cure the problem because the dehydration continues. So intake of water and small amounts of salt, he asserts, makes a huge difference. So what we found is that yes, the healthy salt, not table salt, he suggests something that's a natural salt. What we've found over time is that whilst salt helps people in the short term, it doesn't take them all the way. They actually need a decent source of plant-based trace minerals to really get the true effect of this protocol. He says that water helps prevent and treat lower back pain. So do you have low back pain? Low back pain and arthritis of the spine are signs of water shortage in the spinal column and in the discs, the vertebral discs. And because the discs are like cushions that help to support the weight of the body. And so increasing that really helps with the hydration of the discs. And so not recognizing arthritis and low back pain as warning signs of dehydration in the joints or in the discs, and simply treating them with chiropractic, painkiller, body manipulation, acupuncture, surgery, all these sorts of things. He says in time, this actually produces osteoarthritis because the cartilage cells and the joints have actually sort of died. So they've gone dormant, so to speak. And he believes that this produces deformity in the spine. Water helps with angina pain and hypertension as well. So heart pain, angina, is a sign of water shortage in the heart-lung axis, Dr. Batman-Galige asserts, and it should be treated with simply drinking more water until the patient feels free of pain and is independent of medications. Just drink more water. He suggests in this instance that medical supervision is prudent. However, increased water intake is paramount. So this is with angina pain, obviously, and we're talking here. But then hypertension. Many people, millions of people around the world suffer from hypertension. And he says that it's a state of adaptation to dehydration. And that if you simply drink more water, then the body will start to rebalance its osmotic equilibrium in terms of the mechanisms of the usage of water in the cells of the body, etc., in and out of the cells. He asserts that the first thing that somebody who that appears in hospital with anything, the first thing that is done is that they go on a drip, and that they often respond just by an IV drip. So if we can respond quickly by getting fluids and a small amount of salt into the body, which is what a drip is, then shouldn't we be attempting to do the exact same thing each and every day, no matter what the condition? So he says that water helps prevents and helps migraines. Think of how many people suffer from migraines. He says it's a sign of water need in the brain and the eyes. And it totally clears up when you actually drink enough water. And he said that the challenge is that the type of dehydration that causes migraine can eventually cause enough inflammation in the back of the eye that it can produce degenerating eyesight as well. So, we simply need to drink more water. He says that water prevents and helps colitis. And colitis is simply, it's that irritation and inside the gut, and it's associated with constipation because the large intestine constricts, and he asserts to squeeze every last drop of water out of the bowel motion, and thus it lacks lubrication, and thus the inflammation is set up, and the pain that's there, and the spasms that come with colitis. And it's just not solely, but to get back on top of it, at least we need to drink more water. He says that water and salt, so all sorts of digestive problems, because if there isn't the body needs enough water to maintain all of the mucous membranes in the body. And so all the mucous membranes of the digestive tract and everything that there's enough water needs to be there, and minerals as well. So that's where the salt comes in, or trace mineral supplementation. So water and trace minerals helps everything, especially mucous membranes and all of these things we've just been dealing with. So water and trace minerals help with asthma. So he says that it's a complication of dehydration in the body, and it's a drought management program going on in the body. He says in asthma-free people, the passage of air is free flowing, but it can be obstructed when you have asthma. That free flow of air is obstructed to stop water vapor leaving the body, so that to actually stop that loss of water through just vapor breathing out the moistness. So increased water intake will help to prevent asthma attacks, he asserts. Asthmatics need to take in more salt to break up the mucus plugs in the lungs and that obstruct the free flow of air in and out of the air sacs. And so he says that not recognizing asthma as the indicator of dehydration in the body, especially in children, is criminal, because it says if children are left on medications, this can produce permanent damage, because they're chronically dehydrated, causing damage to the body, damage to the sensitive mucous membranes, and especially if this is treated with medication alone. He believes that water, and he's since passed on, by the way, but he believed that water prevents and helps to type 2 diabetics. And he says that type 2 diabetes, part of the issue with type 2 diabetes is an adaptive response to severe dehydration in the body. And so we need, in order to reverse this, we need water and some salt to reverse it in its early stages. We assert, of course, that some dietary change is important as well, because it used to be considered adult onset diabetes. Now it's type 2, where even children are getting this. So there's a lot of dietary challenges going on there. But Dr. Batman-Galige asserted that water lowers blood cholesterol. He says high cholesterol levels are an indicator of early drought management in the body. Cholesterol is a clay-like material that is poured in the gaps of some cell membranes to safeguard them against losing vital water content to the osmotically more powerful blood circulating in the vicinity. So cholesterol, apart from being used to manufacture nerve cell membranes and hormones, is used as a shield against water taxation of other vital cells that would normally exchange water through their cell membranes. So again, the aspects of a body are being plugged up to actually save water. So some of the additional benefits there of so again, asthma, type 2 diabetes, cholesterol, and yes, indeed, even weight issues. Some of Dr. Batman-Galige's patients lost up to 29 kilos simply replacing their water, their other drinks with water. Now, obviously, if you're eliminating sugared, sweetened beverages and all those sorts of things, or high-calorie things with water, you've already got a benefit there. But a lot of people don't think about that. They think fluids is all that matters. And so many people lost significant weight, up to 29 kilos, just swapping out their drinks for water. So he also asserted that the digestive fluids need plenty of water to be able to digest your food properly. And so on that, we have seen in some of our programs, like our detox protocol, for example, if people are not drinking enough water, then it's not actually helping to optimize these pathways of the body, so they don't progress as well. Or when they're on weight loss programs, like our rapid fat loss, if you're not drinking enough water, then the weight loss can stall. So this is again backing up Dr. Batman-Galige's findings. So he encourages you to drink more water. Fluids don't hydrate, water does. So important stuff to be aware. Just think of all these sorts of things, and all we need to do is consider drinking a lot more of this, a lot more water. Those of you who also want to look younger, slow the effects of aging, this particular journalist said that drinking more water, she swears, took 10 years off her face. And in our 10 years younger challenge, we, on a supplement program, etc., and an external skincare program, we also assert that you really should increase your water intake. There's a whole program that we put as part of this, but this is just an example how you could look, not only feel younger and deal with all these things according to Dr. Batman-Galige's work, but you could look younger too if you just drink more water. So here is what Sarah said. I'm going to bring up her picture right now. Sarah said that drinking 3 liters of water took 10 years off her face, she swears. So Sarah was 42, was hoping to solve headaches and poor digestion. Interesting, isn't it? Because we do know that water helps with that, and that's a lot of what Dr. Batman-Galige's work was on. But she said, just look at what else happened. She said, I genuinely can't believe the difference in my face. I look like a different woman. The dark shadows around my eyes have all but disappeared. The blotches on my skin have gone. My skin is almost as dewy as it was when I was a child. The transformation in my eyes is nothing short of remarkable. I'm feeling leaner and fitter too, which is amazing, since the only thing I've changed is the amount of water I drink. Whatever happens, I am going to keep drinking 3 liters of water a day, and I would advise every woman to do the same, after checking with their doctor, of course. I feel fitter, leaner, healthier. My husband and friends tell me that I look 10 years younger. Who in their right mind would not want to try something when you get such incredible results? So you can see the pictures there, and this was just a journalist testing things out and seeing what might come of it. And so what would it take you to test that out? What would it take you to test it out? Just try drinking more water. So right now, as far as the programs, we have all sorts of programs to help you reach a higher level of health and wellness, but Right now, you can venture to our blog, download the free Eat Savvy approach, follow the 12 steps to clean up your diet, and drink more water. Do that for 30 days and get back to us. Tell us how you actually went with that. You might be surprised. Imagine what adding some, nutrition, some targeted nutrition to that can do if you've taken care of those basics. So the thing is that when we really think about it, we have these warning lights on the dashboard of our car. And yet somehow we don't believe that we have these same warning lights. And so all of Dr. Batman Galige's work just basically states that we are the same. We have these symptoms, signs and symptoms that are all indicators that we need to do something. That's where this illness-wellness continuum is so powerful as well. If you look at the signs and the symptoms, once you've crossed over into sort of the illness area of things, the sickness side of the continuum, it's treated. The treatment paradigm simply seeks to get rid of those signs and symptoms, not to move you past that neutral point to a high level of wellness, but just to deal with the signs and symptoms. And so we love what Dr. Molly Roberts said, that your body will start by whispering, then it'll start talking. And if you don't pay attention, it'll start yelling and shouting, but then you've got an illness, okay? So you're not sick, you are simply thirsty. Love to hear your thoughts and what you're going to do with this and how you can start drinking more water, getting a little bit of good salt, some Celtic sea salt or Himalayan salt. And if you're ready to take that to the next level, a plant-based ionic colloidal mineral really makes such a big difference to amplify what you're doing with just the salt. But yeah, drink more water. Drink more water. So let us know how you go. So that's it for this particular episode of Healthy Savvy Life. Love to hear how you went with all of that. So please do share your insights there. So Dr. Batman Galige's book is available. There's a number of different books. Water and Salt, I had it here and I've taken it away while I was reading it. But also Your Body's Many Cries for Water was I believe his original book. So that's available if you want to really dig into that. We can read all about it, or we could just simply do it. So see how you go. Let us know how you go. So it's Corey Sievers here, encouraging you to be savvy. All the best. We'll catch you next time.